The moment she laughed and said, "I'll trade my husband for a cocktail," something cold slid down my spine, even before the stranger smiled back at her. We were standing near the bar, bass vibrating through my ribs, neon lights slicing the room into fragments. I forced a chuckle, assuming it was just drunk humor, the kind couples throw around to feel edgy. But when the guy stepped closer, leaned in like he belonged there, and my wife didn't move away, I realized the joke had landed somewhere dangerous, and I was the only one not laughing anymore. Lena and I had been married 7 years, together almost 10. We met in college, survived crappy apartments, overdraft fees, and the kind of fights that end with silent dinners, not slammed doors. Lately, though, things felt thinner. She worked longer hours at a marketing firm, came home buzzing, always on her phone. I told myself it was stress. That night out was supposed to reconnect us, her idea. "Let's feel young again," she'd said, picking the nightclub and booking the Uber. I wanted to believe this was us choosing each other again. At the club, Lena looked incredible, black dress, hair loose, the perfume I bought her last Eid. She'd already had 2 cocktails by the time we found a spot near the bar. I paid, as usual, tapping my card and checking the receipt out of habit. She leaned into me, shouted over the music, "Don't be boring tonight, okay?" I smiled, raised my glass, and promised I wouldn't. What I didn't say was that I already felt like a guest in my own marriage, watching her sparkle somewhere just out of reach. The guy appeared while I was flagging the bartender. Tall, confident, the kind who knows exactly where to stand. He said something to Lena I couldn't hear. She laughed, loud and unguarded, then glanced at me with a smirk. That's when she said it, the line about trading me for a cocktail. People around us laughed. I laughed too, reflexively. But the stranger didn't laugh. He smiled, slow and deliberate, and said, "I'll take that deal." Lena didn't correct him. She just raised her glass like a toast. I tried to shake it off. Maybe I was being sensitive. Maybe that's just club banter. But then I noticed small things. The way she angled her body toward him, not me. How she didn't introduce us. How her phone buzzed and she checked it instantly, thumbs moving fast. I leaned in and asked, "You good?" She nodded, eyes still glowing. "Relax," she said. "You're overthinking." I wanted to believe her, but the music couldn't drown out the quiet alarm going off in my head. When I suggested dancing together, she hesitated. "In a minute," she said, then turned back to the guy. I stood there, drink melting in my hand, watching them talk like old friends. At one point, he touched her arm to emphasize a point. She didn't pull away. My phone buzzed, bank alert. Another charge. I glanced up to see him handing the bartender cash while Lena thanked him. She shot me a look, half apologetic, half defiant. "He insisted," she said. I nodded, but my stomach dropped. Since when did she let strangers insist? I stepped outside for air, checking the time, 11:42 p.m. I texted her, "Can we talk?" 3 dots appeared, then vanished. No reply. I watched couples smoke, laugh, stumble into rideshares. When I went back in, she was gone from the bar. Panic tightened my chest until I spotted her near the VIP stairs, with him. Laughing again. I walked over, heart pounding. "Hey," I said, forcing calm. "Can we head out soon?" She sighed. "Why are you making this weird?" she asked, loud enough for him to hear. That's when the stranger spoke directly to me. "Man, she's just having fun," he said, smiling like he was doing me a favor. "You should loosen up." Lena didn't defend me. She rolled her eyes and said, "See? Even he gets it." Something in me snapped, not anger, but clarity. I realized this wasn't about one joke or one drink. This was about permission. She'd given it, silently, and he'd accepted. I said quietly, "I'm going home." She looked surprised. "Seriously?" she asked. I nodded. "Seriously." Outside, my phone rang. Her name flashed. I let it ring, then answered. "You embarrassed me," she said immediately. In front of him. That word, him, hit harder than anything else. I embarrassed you? I replied. You offered to trade me for a drink. She laughed, sharp and defensive. It was a joke. God, you're so insecure. I took a breath. Then why didn't you shut it down? Silence stretched. Finally, she said, because it felt good to be wanted. And there it was, hanging between us. She came home an hour later. I was sitting at the kitchen table, the overhead light on, untouched tea going cold. She kicked off her heels and said, "Can we not do this tonight?" I looked up. Did you give him your number? She hesitated, just a second too long. He asked, she admitted. I didn't think. I cut in gently. Did you? She nodded. Yes. But it didn't mean anything. I felt something crack, clean and final. It meant enough, I said, that you chose him over me. She cried then, said she felt invisible lately, said I'd been distant, said she never planned for it to go that far. I listened, really listened. Then I told her what she didn't expect. I checked your phone bill last week, I said. You've been texting an unknown number late at night for months. Her face drained. That was him, she whispered. We met at a work event.